I'm sending it to the group chat now because the shirt sold, unfortunately, but the graphic is amazing. I should have bought it. It was $50, which I don't have right now.
So we can just rip this and bootleg the posters.
There you go.
Oh, this shirt is so fucking good.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, it's
good.
Speed is for the racetrack, not the highway.
I should have bought that. I had the chance.
And he looks like fucking Lionel Richie or something.
Yeah, that's an original '70s shirt for sure. So.
Why'd they make Richard Petty look black in the '70s?
No, he looks
Stevie Wonder glasses on.
I think he looks kind of like James Brown.
Yeah,
he's got James Brown
like
face.
A soul singer mid-set is what he looks like, and it's not Richard Petty at all.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. Spotter said it was clear. I wasn't clear, and, you know, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, you know, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show. You know, and so, you know, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out about till it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but... All
right, folks. Well, welcome to Meet Me at Applebee's, your late model podcast.
That's right. We're the #1 late model podcast in the United States that is not affiliated with Flow Sports, Dirt on Dirt, Dirt Tracker Live, World of Outlaws, any of it. If we're not, it's not affiliated. The #1 non-affiliated Dirt Track late model podcast.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself. I am Brien, once again, as always, with Rob and Ashley. Folks, how we doing this week?
I'm tired. I'll tell you that. Don't want to be doing what I'm doing. Rather be doing what I was doing last weekend. That's for damn sure. But I'm living, man. How about you, True Love?
I'm here. I'm excited to hear all about your Eldora adventures.
Oh, God. Can't wait to talk about it.
To get the tally of toilet water that you drank.
No idea.
I will take the blame for this show getting delayed another day because I just got a kitten and I had to deal with that in the family yesterday. So we had to take a night off, but we're back with not a whole lot of racing news, but some racing stuff to talk about.
Aside from the Dream and the World of Outlaws, there really nothing happened this weekend, right? I don't think I remember much of anything.
Well, I don't know. Let's save the dirt talk for the big segment of the show because I'm sure you got plenty to talk about.
Let's get this boring shit out of the way first.
Yeah. Honestly, folks, if you didn't watch Sunday, like I told my stepdad, you didn't miss a goddamn thing. The race was completely boring. There was nothing going on. Truex dominated it. NASCAR threw a bullshit caution to try to fix it, and that only kind of fucked things up for certain people that were pitting on certain laps, and it was just a real snoozer. And Saturday was not much better. It was the Kyle Larson show till he fucked his own race, and then Eric Almirola somehow took a win in a 28 Ford. So that's pretty much the summation of Sonoma for those who didn't watch.
Yeah.
So
it's over.
I was sitting at Eldora as that truck race was happening. Watching the
Xfinity race.
Xfinity race, sorry.
Yes.
Same, 6 of one, half dozen the other. And my phone just did not work all weekend. So you guys, I wanted to send a welfare check out once in a while to let you know I'm still alive. Mm-hmm. Didn't have to find someone to replace me on the show permanently because I was dead in a ditch somewhere in Ohio. But nothing worked at all. And I think the only real text I got through the entire weekend was one from Brien saying, well, of all the Xfinity races for you to miss. Big old Eric Almirola win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, very unexpected. He was driving
It's Kyle Sieg, right?
Yeah,
Ryan Sieg, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say Ron Sieg. Always good to see a 28 Ford win. Maybe a little less enthralling when it's Eric Almirola, but if anything, probably the more interesting Eric Almirola news of the last 48 hours was him deciding to clap back at all of his haters on Twitter, like in the middle of the night, multiple nights after his race win, in just a very embarrassing fashion. Like, it wasn't funny what he was doing, and he was going back. People weeks ago were calling you calling him out and talking shit on him. It's like, nope, I won. Nope, I won.
He's
It's
just
like,
uncovering
yeah,
years.
one word responses like
yeah.
Big L. That's an L. Who talks like that?
I mean, I know he's a Jesus loving bacon boy, but I mean, I take it he must drink because like, why the fuck would you be sending out tweets like that if you
they
weren't
must have
shit-faced?
sent home with a case of wine from Sonoma.
That
Took
could
a
have been
couple
it.
sips.
Could have been it. Yeah, he had a couple sips of some of that Sonoma Red. Sent him over the edge.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there really was just nothing interesting, nothing cool happened, nothing.
I'll be the contrarian here. I didn't mind the Cup race at all. I didn't see the Xfinity race like a single second of it, and I haven't watched it yet. But the Cup race was fine. I don't know. It's a road
It was
race.
Sonoma. Yeah.
Like I used to get a lot more excited for Sonoma and Watkins Glen before we had 38 road courses on the schedule and probably more incoming. But now that it's a pretty large percentage of the races we see every year, especially in the regular season, it's just kind of lost its luster a little bit. So it's not as special anymore to see him go there. But I don't know, it was fine. It's fun to watch him rip around there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool track. It's got its history and
Super cool.
It's very aesthetically pleasing. Like, it's a cool, all the shots are cool and the geography is cool, but yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a great race there in a while, and again, it's probably due to the cars, and
Yeah.
who knows? It's for next year.
It's all Truex's fault.
But he's always been good there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, he's
that's
on his
the problem.
rebound year, so
Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah, you get that new girlfriend. Yeah,
Woo-woo.
start winning some races.
yeah.
picking him up down at the old Bass Pro. Right in front of the fish tank.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like next year, who knows? We might lose a few road courses. So maybe things will get a little bit better.
Really? It sounded like we were going to get a couple more.
Well, no, I thought. So let's talk about that rumor. There was a rumor that kind of spread the last 24 or so hours. Where
Jordan Bianchi reported it, so it's somewhat reputable. But
I missed it. What?
so what's the gist of it, Rob? Because I'm trying to remember the.
so I've
details
seen
itself.
different people kind of spin it in a different way. Some people are saying that we're losing a couple road courses. Some are saying it's an additional one. But essentially, Montreal is on the short list of places we're going to add.
Right.
That's either to replace the Bristol Dirt Race or it's to replace Chicago when it ultimately gets run out of town in a couple weeks' time.
One and done.
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro is rumored to get a Cup date as well, but that's also that could be what replaces the Bristol Dirt Weekend or the spring.
They're saying
Makes sense.
the Easter date. So.
But I've seen it a couple different ways. But of course, the Chicago thing, they're not going to come out and say that. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore after this year.
Not 2 weeks before
Yeah.
the race. Yeah.
They've spent a lot of money on the posters, and they can't really, piss all over it until it's done. So. But yeah, that was how I read it. And I'd be bummed out if we added yet another fucking road course, especially at the expense of Bristol. But Montreal's cool, I guess. I don't know.
I think the other thing though is I feel like we're almost definitely losing the Indy Road race and maybe Charlotte as well. So who knows?
True. That's true. Yeah.
I think the Roval, I feel like they still want to keep for whatever fucking stupid reason, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
I mean, out of all of them, that might be the most fun. And I like it because as a fan, you can actually see the whole goddamn track.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Indy because I'm going there again this year. And when I went in 2021, I actually thought, I mean, with Indy, it doesn't matter if you're on the road course or the oval, you can't see the whole track no matter what.
But there's a golf course in the middle of it.
Yeah, but I actually enjoyed because we sat right in the first section of turns, and we could see very well. There's a TV screen right there, and you could see, a good at least a third, if not half the track almost, or at least where all the main action was happening.
Yeah.
So, it would kind of suck to lose that, but at the same time, I understand bringing back the prestige of the Brickyard, and also the new cars will probably be better on that new on the oval. So, who the hell knows? But either way, Montreal will be cool, I guess. I mean, it's Cup. I can't even remember the last time Cup ran in Canada. Have they ever run?
Cup is to the best, unless it was in the '60s. Cup has never run in Canada, but the Xfinity Series was up there back when it was nationwide in 2008, 9, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'll be cool. Funny enough, and now that you mentioned Montreal, my stepdad said that while they were in New York this past weekend, they saw Ferrari's F1 trailers passing through New York. Like that, my part of town, Albany.
That's
I
cool.
mean, you're going from New York City up to Montreal, you go right through Albany. So he said, yes, they saw all the Ferrari trailers, and he was like, what the fuck are they doing here?
That's cool.
But whatever. So that's road courses.
Canadian Grand Prix, baby, coming right up.
I can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be an enthralling race.
I mean, I gotta say, like, that is one of the circuits I actually like to tune in to watch. Canada's always pretty fun, and you don't gotta wake up early to do it. And, well, I guess IndyCar's at Road America this weekend, so that's
good.
That's enough. That's always a good one. So I guess that's enough for me as far as road racing is concerned. But yeah, Montreal's always pretty good. It's a bitchin' track. It's got a lot of history. It's named after Gilles Villeneuve, one of the greatest of all time.
I'll put in my max bet as we speak, I guess.
How do you like that fucking French right
I'm
there,
trying
guys?
to spell it in my mind right now. It's just a
Villeneuve.
bunch of vowels. Yeah.
I didn't say it right. Dad of Jacques.
Did you learn that in Eldora?
I did, yeah. At the Eldora Cultural Center, I picked up a few things.
I mean, we might as well get into it. Let's talk about it, Rob.
Are we
You
not
made a
gonna mention
last.
Garage 56? Did y'all watch
Oh,
any of
yeah,
that?
speaking of... No, I didn't. Well, again, I had no service, so there was no chance in hell I was going to be able to catch any of it, but...
I watched a few minutes of it, but I mean, it's not. Endurance racing has never been my thing. I think it was more interesting to see all the other people react to. Like, even again, my friends that are only new F1 fans, all of a sudden, kind of like almost mocking the stock car on the course, but it's like it was one of the fastest cars on the track all weekend. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. It might be 1.5 scale every other car on the track, but it was still faster than most of them.
Yeah, it was a fucking school bus going almost 200 miles an hour
Yeah.
down that big old straightaway in the back. Well, I guess there's chicanes now, so it's not like 2 miles like it used to be. But I love Le Mans, and I love 24-hour races, and usually I'll actually kind of stay tuned in, but since my plans changed, there was no way to even pay attention. I guess Ferrari won overall and in the hypercar class, so good for them.
Yep.
Finally doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, I had it on for a few minutes, but yeah, I mean, whatever. So yeah, that happened too. But it seemed like it was good for NASCAR. It was good for the sport. Got more attention. It seems like it's something they're going to continue.
I'm just glad to see that fucking GT car they built for Cup racing actually get used the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
It's a goddamn Delara, like.
That's the other thing. A few people are like, "What the fuck is this thing?" And it's like, well, I was telling them, the new car is more or less a sports car, not a stock car, and this is also a way of NASCAR to test out their new hybrid engine. And people are like, hybrid V8s. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what's happening. So.
Kind of sick. I don't know. It seems louder than what we have now, so I'll take it. Make my eyes bleed with the exhaust, please.
Very descriptive. Oh man, put that on my tombstone.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of things on your tombstone. It's the second on my tombstone quote you made on this shit.
Pretty tall.
Bury me in North Wilkesboro or whatever the fuck it was.
All the appetizers and drinks are on the backside, so big fucking Applebee's menu worth of shit about you.
God. Oh. Anyway, so Rob went to Eldora.
Yep, Rob.
I did go to Eldora, and my God, I don't even know where to start with this. I guess I'll just recount my entire weekend. It was a time. It was a hell of a time. I'll say that. And that is an understatement. The understatement of the fucking century. So I wake up at 3 on Friday morning. I didn't get to the prelim night 1 on Thursday, unfortunately. Track was a little rough. They had some little motocross jumps happening in turns 1 and 4, I believe. And
nice.
People weren't too thrilled with the track conditions, which was a recurring theme through the whole weekend, I guess, especially with the feature. But we'll get to that later. So yeah, I watched that on Flow, stayed up as late as I could, passed out on my couch, woke up at about 3 a.m. to haul over to the shuttle bus, which takes me to the airport, and I'm on a plane at 6:30. Land in Columbus, pick up my beautiful rental Toyota Tacoma. Very nice truck that someone had very clearly been hauling gravel around in because there was still some left in the bed. Always take pictures of your rental cars, folks, when you pick them up. Hauled west towards Eldora. Stopped into Dayton for just a second to go check out the United States Air Force Museum there at Wright-Patterson. And that is just a little side note. I mentioned I was going there last week, and I've always wanted to go there. And good God, that is an incredible museum. Like, I don't care if you're an aviation geek or just someone who happens to be alive and breathing. That place is fucking fascinating. And there's some incredible pieces of history in there.
I think you only sent us one picture from that, and it was...
There was no service in there either. I'm just thinking Ohio just needs more towers or something like that.
I'm in the real part of Ohio, which is basically not anything like Ohio, so we don't have that issue up here.
Yeah, you guys, your phones work up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dayton, kind of a shithole, it seems like. But that museum is great.
Birthplace of Marilyn Manson.
That's right. That makes perfect sense. But,
Yep.
But yeah, check out that museum. It's free. I mean, well, it's not really free. Your tax dollars pay for it, so you should probably go do it just because you've already paid for admission. But it's definitely worth a visit. All the experimental shit they got in there. The Air Force One exhibit. You can go stand on the spot where LBJ got sworn in after JFK got assassinated. They got the bomb, the plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Nagasaki. It's just like really heavy shit in there, you know. And again, you feel the whole range of emotions of being an American. There's the pride, there's the disappointment, the disgust, just everything at once. You know, it's like, God damn, I can't believe we sent these dudes over to fight Nazis in these fucking hand-hammered planes where they just, paint a pair of tits on the side and just fire it across the Atlantic. Just a bunch of like young ass like 18-year-old dudes in aviator jackets just going over there and putting it on the line so we could have shows like this and do dumb shit. But then also some of the worst shit imaginable happening alongside that. So yeah, the duality of being an American, I suppose, on full display. But it's an incredible place, and I recommend if you do make it to Ohio for any reason, it's definitely worth the drive from anywhere in the state. But anyway, wrap that up. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say, I think there's another like Wright Brothers museum.
There is, right around the corner. Yeah.
I want to check that out too because my boss has said that's really cool. Because I mean, as a bike guy, not just the planes, but bikes and stuff too. So
I mean, that whole area actually has a lot of cool museums, and that's another one. I wish I had more time. You could literally spend a whole like open to close inside that place, and they even had a whole wing shut down, and it took me 3 hours to get through very quickly, try and see everything I wanted to see. But yeah, definitely stop in. I think I was going to say this to the end, but I'll say it now. I'm going to make going to Eldora a tradition, especially for the Dream every year, for the reasons I'm about to describe to you. And I think I'll probably fly into Columbus just so I can scoot through there and see Dayton on the way. You can fly into Dayton too. There's just no connecting flights from up here, but anyway, this isn't a kayak ad. This is, we're talking about dirt track racing here. Anyway, I get back in the car, pick up some beers, head over to Eldora, meet up with my good buddy Kyle Armstrong and old Kenny Bob at their trailer out there in Lot 5. And we have us a couple beers and start the day and get set up for a whole couple days of racing. We decided to walk the grounds, and, Kyle is probably the best tour guide you can possibly have. He's deeply ingrained in the late model community, and he knows just about everybody. And you can't walk 5 feet without running into somebody he knows, whether it's someone who's been coming to the track for 30 years or it's somebody in the industry or a driver or whatever. Like, it's just, you get to meet everybody just by hanging out with this guy. So I just want to say, I know he's probably listening to this, so thank you for inviting me into the world, your world, and getting to meet all these people, because it's a cool place for sure.
And he's good people.
And he's great people. Yeah, he's a good hang. Love you, Kyle. But he kind of gave me the tour. I was like, let's walk the pits, and then we'll head down the Love Tunnel, and we'll go into the garage in the infield, and we'll get the grand tour before people get here. And it was pretty hot, but we did the whole thing, and Eldora is such a weird place. It looks completely different in person than it does on television. Like, it looks kind of wide and big on TV almost. And it is a half mile, but it's just one giant egg shape kind of. There's not really a straightaway, and it's really high banked. And like, no matter where you're standing on the inside or outside of the bowl, the perspective of what it looks like kind of changes. So it's a really weird looking place. But, it's like one of those racetracks, kind of like North Wilkesboro in its own way, where you walk in there and you can just feel how important and hallowed the grounds are. And I'll be honest, like with that, before a lap was turned, I was already saying to everybody, like, man, this was worth every dime just to see this place, and be so close to it. I got to meet a couple cool drivers. RTJ out there, the #1 ranked late model driver in the country, was funny, nice guy. I told him I had $20 on him, so he better win, and I let him know that was the most important part of the weekend. He seemed to take that in stride. He didn't win, so if I see you, Ricky, that's why I'm giving you side eye next time. Who else? I can't even remember. There's just, it was a lot of walking around and meeting people. And then as the sun started to go down, we decided to go back and hit camp and get ready for the night. But on the way back, I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Wall of Doors. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
So there's this big barn. If you're listening to this and you don't know what it is, there's a big barn they have. It's sort of like an expo center where they'll do driver interviews and all that. Later on in the weekend, I got to see like Scott Bloomquist and Jonathan Davenport give interviews in there and all that. But the backdrop of this room is this just wall of old doors from late models that all had raced at Eldora. And it's like, God, a couple 300 feet long from floor to ceiling. It's just absolutely incredible to see in person. Like, you don't think it would be as breathtaking as it is, until you see it in person. But my God, we stopped in and kind of marveled over that a little bit, and then went and got sort of set up, put our new t-shirts on, because half of going to the short track is buying some new t-shirts.
You get some nice tie-dye or something?
No, I didn't get any tie-dye this time, but Tyler Erb had a really sick looking Smokey and the Bandit shirt that he was selling because he had his car all done up like that, the car from that movie.
Oh,
That's cool.
That thing fucking rips. It looked great on track too. But yeah, we had a couple more beers, came back in, and then we found our seats. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the major photos of Eldora or been there or whatever, but like there's the main grandstand, and there's a lot of actual grandstand seating, but below it there's this huge bowl of grass, which is the general admission. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of set your lawn chairs up down there, which is fucking sweet. Mm-hmm. And people, this is such a unique event. It's kind of like I compare it to Indy, and I'm going to keep comparing it to Indianapolis, even though I've never been there, just based on what I hear. People have been going to this place, the world or the dream, for as long as those races have been held. And they have their spots. So I got very lucky to be hanging out with a guy and some guys who have a spot.
Yeah.
Up there at the top of the bowl, right below the sort of concourse, And that's another cool thing about Eldora. You walk in off the street or the parking lot, and it's all below you. You're at the top of the stands, which I love that about a racetrack.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we get our little lawn chairs set up, get settled in. Again, all the people around us have been going there for forever. Like the folks who own Millbridge were 10 feet to our right, and Nick Hoffman's family was right in front of them, and every single one of them just incredibly nice. All of them. And that's a big reason why I can't wait to go back, is just because being around all the people, it was such a almost family type experience. And yeah, we're all getting a little rowdy, but I mean family in the sort of just camaraderie kind of sense. Like everyone's here for one purpose, and it's to drink beer and watch race cars. And
yeah, that's the best part about any racing community is.
Yeah, agreed. And Kyle said it himself too. Is it's friendship first, and the racing is just an extra little cherry on top, and that couldn't be more true. But the actual racing, man, God, that place rules. I can't even describe how fun it is to watch late models rip around there. I can't even imagine what fucking 410s are like in person at that place. So if anyone's going to the Eldora Million pretty soon, you got a camper, hit me up. Maybe I'll max out another credit card and come see you. But yeah, great night of racing. Again, the track issues were a little less pronounced on Friday night. The races were a little shorter. Seemed like there's a little bit more track prep, but it was pretty damn slicked off. And it's really crazy to hear aero being a huge issue in late model racing. And I guess it shouldn't be that much of a surprise because these cars are giant fucking doorstops.
Well, let me ask or say a couple things here, because going back to the video of the week last week, and apparently now this past weekend, it seemed like Eldora, for all the money and time like Tony has put into that place, like it's wild to hear they're having issues with the actual track itself.
It's been ever since they replaced or revamped the dirt to bring NASCAR in.
So was it a different type of dirt and that fucked up the surface?
I think it's just I don't know how different it is, or if there's an additive they put in the dirt. I've heard that there's some chemicals in there they also use. But whatever it is, the track is just, it slicks off, I guess, and it's also been pretty rainy, I guess, so that would kind of explain the ruts and all that. But I don't know. For me, as someone who has never been to Eldora before and usually watches it on television, and my late model experience is usually confined to flow racing, it really didn't matter to me. It was fucking incredible watching those guys rip around, and even in the feature, which we'll get to in a second. But killer night of racing on night 2. Mike Marler getting a win, that was pretty cool. All the heats were great. And again, just a great time with all the folks around you. And like I said, I don't know how many toilet waters I put down.
So when did you have your first toilet water?
My first toilet water happened when we were walking the grounds.
Okay.
Kyle looks at me and he's like, I think it's time we got us a toilet water. Or maybe I said that. I don't know, because I was thirsty. But
I feel like you probably said
it was decided pretty early on, let's have one of these right now. And
did you bring me home a sack of wet Tootsie Rolls?
Wet Tootsies? I did.
You got them through TSA just fine.
Well, they took them from me, unfortunately. They're like, what the hell are these? And I said, I can't speak right now. I shouldn't have driven my rental car here. And that's not true. I wasn't shit-faced driving a truck around. Budget. We can edit that out. That's seriously a joke, though. I actually played it pretty cool on Saturday because I went so goddamn hard on Friday night, which I guess we're about to get to. But yeah, one good thing about Eldora is that everything is very cheap, with the exception of ice. It's like $8 a bag if you want it, but it is what it is. But I ate probably like, I don't know, 100 fucking fried cheese balls because they were so good. It's little fried pepper jack balls. The pizza burger kind of sucked. I wasn't a fan. It was kind of like eating a sausage patty, which... And even taking Hannah Newhouse's suggestion of putting the little fried cheese balls on top of the pizza burger really didn't do it for me. It just wasn't enough.
As much as I'm a fan of interesting and weird foods at the track, a pizza burger is not one of those things that I'm going to be like, yeah, I got to try that thing.
You know, and the thing is, it's just pepperoni and cheese on the inside of the burger, but the patty's too thin, you know? And like, I like...
Oh, okay.
It's just not what I would imagine a pizza burger being. Now, if it was a sloppy fucking chicken parm kind of deal, then let's go.
That's the other thing I was gonna say is like I don't think I've ever had a good pizza burger. Like that concept just doesn't really work to me.
No,
even if it's well made. Like
no, I'm with you on that. That's not really my thing. But yeah, everything extraordinarily cheap. Nothing's more than like $5 at the concession stand, which is great. There's a couple of carts on the perimeter. You can get like the largest fucking pounded fried tenderloin I've ever seen in my life. It was like the size of a bowling ball if you flattened it out, or like a hood. It was huge. I'm telling you. That was like $9, and that was like the big ticket item. Toilet waters are, I think, $4 or $5. I don't know, but yeah, beers are $2, which is great. They'll just sell you as many as you want. And here's the free ice. I'm not even kidding. I go up and just buy a 6-pack from the bartender, and they drop them in the little cooler I had and just dump ice on top of it. $12. See you later.
That's perfect.
So yeah, and Ohio has some weird rules about alcohol and sales and all that. So like you can't bring your own alcohol into the track due to state law. But
that's definitely not true at fucking Mid Ohio. I bring my shit in there every year.
That's the law at Eldora, apparently, in that county. You can't bring outside alcohol in for whatever reason. But I do appreciate Eldora. What was that ominous noise?
Someone driving down my road.
Oh, that was like a fucking synth from Stranger Things or something.
It's always some weird vehicle noises.
It's like an NPR podcast. It's like, the beers are $2, but at what cost? You know. But yeah, I appreciate Eldora keeping the beer prices nice and low, and yeah, they really got it figured out for the most part. I don't really have any complaints about the facility. It's just there's a couple of, no matter where you sit, there's kind of some places where you can't see because it's so deep down on a hole. But
why don't you tell us about the toilets? How was that situation?
You know, they weren't bad. To have 10,000 people as fucked up as they were at that place, it was pretty nice. I didn't have any problems.
That's good.
Yeah, much nicer than Seekonk. Yeah, never really had to wait in line for a urinal. You just kind of zip in, zip out. You know, there's no trough that I can find, you know. So if you're a trough phobe out there and you don't like that and you like your own private situation, then you're in luck at Eldora. So, yeah, the facility's great, man. It's modern. They've done a lot of work on it, but it still retains that old school feel. It's definitely not what they've done with like North Wilkesboro or anything like that by any means, but it still feels very old school and is very old school. But yeah, it's a nice facility. But yeah, Saturday wrapped up Friday night wrapped up, and we head back to the campground. Went over to Andy's Towing. If you know, you know, and drank a bunch of moonshine. Pissed off somebody by trying to play Brooks and Dunn on an iPod, even though we were playing 90s country. Yeah, no one wants to hear Neon Moon, apparently. So it is what it is. It is the girl whose phone it was or whatever. I think she just didn't want to hear Neon Moon, which, you know, I'm sorry. Not my fault.
Not my fault you had your heart broken. Listen to this fucking song.
But it was a great fucking party. We were hanging out with this guy, Tandy Marlin. I don't know if you've ever heard of him before, but he's one of Sterling Marlin's cousins. I'm actually going to pour a shot of tequila as I talk about this. Tandy Marlin. Yeah, he didn't really do anything too big time from what I can tell, but he was definitely selling his shirts at this party. Spitting image. You could tell he's related to him. But
did you buy a shirt?
I forgot to buy one.
You forgot to buy a Tandy Marlin shirt?
Marlin. I know, it is like Country 103 on the front of it. It looks in the Coors font.
Better. What?
But
I'm so disappointed in you.
He was like he sounded like a slightly more like understandable Sterling Marlin.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell he's a Marlin boy without even like him telling you his name. It was incredible. He was a fucking trip to hang out with. Yeah, we all drank a lot, and there's so much food at the Andy's Towing Pavilion. I can't even tell you. I don't know where it all came from. It was like 1 a.m, and the grill was going and shit. But it was, yeah, hell of a party. Let's see who was down there. I can't even remember anymore. But it was a blast. Again, this is kind of one of the things I'm talking about. Like, I've never met most of these people before. You know, a lot of the late model folks that I'm already been acquainted with, like photographers and shit like that, they weren't at Eldora, so this was all brand new people, and they were all so welcoming and kind, and like basically like if you're in the vicinity, it's like, hey, you want a beer? Hey, you want a burger? You want this? It's like everyone is just so kind. Anytime someone would get up to come and go to concessions, there'd be a trail of toilet waters for whoever the hell wanted one. You know, it was just this really, again, it's the nice thing about the racing community is that everyone is there for the same reason, like I said, you know, and let's all do this together, you know. Yeah. It's nice. It's really, really nice. But yeah, we got nice and torn up there and drank all their moonshine, and I hit the 24-hour mark at 3 a.m. of being awake and decided it was time to stumble back to the trailer, which we did. Woke up the next morning, old Ken Bob, he gave me 4 Advils, and he's like, here, buddy, take these right now. You're going to want that, the little gel caps. And this is a funny thing about me, is like I get really nervous about milligrams for aspirin. Just because it's medicine, you know. I think that's a David Cross bit about that, but like I get nervous about like pills, which is fucking stupid. But but I was so drunk, I just popped whatever he gave me. You know, they were wholesome guys, so I figured it wasn't anything crazy. And you know, surely these aren't too strong an Advil, and it saved my goddamn life. I'm telling you what. I woke up the next morning feeling about 80%. Which is pretty good, considering I hadn't slept or eaten anything in a while, just living off alcohol. Hauled on down to the Whistle Stop down in Ansonia, which is another tradition, I guess. A nice little bar, restaurant spot, not too far from the track. You know, it's cool because they sell T-shirts with race cars on the back of them. Hit up some of the yard sales down there.
Did you get one of those T-shirts?
I got one of those.
Okay.
I was not going to be let down by myself again by missing out on another cool T-shirt.
Okay.
But yeah, we ended up at the Whistle Stop. It's a cool place. And then I don't know if you guys know this about that area, but anytime there's a big race, everyone and then the fucking town has a yard sale. So we're talking like 20 or 30 different yard sales, garage sales, whatever, just popped up all over town.
Now I really wish I would have went.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was a thing because like Kyle had mentioned it to me before we got there, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like garage sales?" And I thought maybe it was a vendor outside the racetrack or something, but no, it's just like legitimate garage sales all over the county. And like to the point where they even have maps sitting there at the whistle stop of where you can go find these places. I couldn't buy much. I only had a backpack on me, but definitely some cool shit. Like a big stack of Circle Track magazines for like $1 a piece.
Damn.
I did buy a deck of Winston Cup trading cards. There was a Mike Wallace diecast for $1. That was kind of cool. I thought about getting that, but I didn't because again,
Throwing it in the trash?
Just good.
Yeah, really. I was gonna say.
But no. No, that's for them to do. And the best part about some of these yard sales is that all the cool shit was just like not for sale. It was like somebody else's stuff. You know, like there's a ton of racing memorabilia and shit on the wall. It's like, oh no, I'm not selling that. It's like, I feel like half of these yard sales and these garage sales are just to show people your cool shit. But yeah, definitely a cool way to kill the afternoon because racing doesn't start till late. You know, such as tradition in dirt track racing. You know, you race at night, so you can actually see what's going on because it's dusty, especially in Ohio because it's one giant fucking gravel pit. But yeah, we went back after that. Our buddy Crabtree, again, you know.
Crabtree.
He's a good guy. He sits same spot every year. You know him. If you've been to Eldora, you've probably seen his chairs with the spray paint Crabtree on the back. Wow. Dude is a fucking trip, you know. You better have a good sense of humor because that guy's gonna he's gonna give you shit within 30 seconds of meeting you. So I quickly became known as Diesel Dave, and I had to Google who that was real quick. But I guess I do kind of look like Diesel Dave. And that was my nickname for the rest of the weekend. Everyone knew me as such. So, but yeah, he brought over some water for our camper, like I own it with Kyle. It's a Kyle's camper. Filled us up for free, like a good guy. Brought some liquor over, and we hung out for a little bit and kind of got prepped up for the race at night. And went back in and did it again. That's pretty much it. Again, the feature. A lot of people not thrilled with track conditions all night. The heats were great, honestly. The B mains were fine. But by the time, and they did some track prep in between, I think the heats and the B mains that kind of changed the complexion a little bit too much. I don't know exactly what they did because I was kind of trying to haul down to the infield and experience one of the B mains from down there, just get my head torn off by, you know, some late models like 5 inches from my head, which was killer. I do recommend doing that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, by the time the feature rolled around, within 20 or 30 laps, Davenport just had it in hand, and it was kind of like a cup race. Honestly, it was still really exciting. Don't get me wrong, but it kind of played out in the same way that a cup race would, where it's very aero dependent, and you know, Chris Madden got pretty close to getting around Davenport a couple times, or at least he like knocked on his door a little bit, but he just could not get a run on him, and Davenport ran away with it. But that could have happened, or probably would have happened anyway, even if the track was perfect. I guess we do got to talk about Carson Hocevar a little bit since he was there.
Right, could keep his name out of your mouth.
That's right. When my phone was working, I was talking about Carson Hocevar.
Talking about Hocevar the whole damn time.
He's pretty goddamn good in the late model. I can tell you, he's pretty good. He really impressed the hell out of me, and I think a lot of people were really impressed by him too.
Did you buy a T-shirt?
No, I don't think he had shirts for sale. There was on Saturday before, I forgot this part. After we drank some Crabtree's liquor and went and had some hibachi at another trailer out there. Not even kidding. It was great.
Hibachi.
It was awesome. There was a giant driver autograph session, which was really cool. All like there was like 96 cars entered, which was insane, and all of them came and were sitting there signing autographs for people. The line was huge. It was really cool, and like a lot of kids too, really lining up to meet these guys, which I thought was fucking awesome. And I know NASCAR can't really do that, but I think they could. You know, I guess there's a lot of weirdos out there who would make that terrible for the drivers, but Man, if he could line all the
Show
Cup
up with, like,
drivers.
20 die casts.
Yeah, those fucking idiots that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But it was really a really cool experience to see all those kids get up there and meet these drivers and just see how stoked they were to, meet Jonathan Davenport and, RTJ and all these guys. It was really sweet. And then the fact that everybody was there too. And like I said, they had a bunch of other interviews in that hall as well over the course of the weekend, getting to see Scott Bloomquist shoot the shit for a little while and talk about his health and what he's doing and why he sat out the Dream for the first time in history.
Why did he?
He didn't really give a very committal answer. He's just talking about getting his body back in shape.
Aliens probed him too much.
Yeah. You get probed one too many times.
You gotta sit that one out for a minute.
And I want to give a quick shout out to Mo. I forget his last name, but Mo is the guy who built the wall of doors. And we had a really nice talk with him about the origin of it and how he built it and where all the doors came from. And just, again, I want to give a shout out to him just for taking on that project. And it's really a stark and beautiful way to preserve a lot of history that would be pretty quickly forgotten. A lot of racing history is word of mouth, especially in that kind of part of the world. And to have something visual like that even if you're not a racing fan, you'll look at it and go, holy shit, what's that? And there's like, you keep finding new things all over it. And then those stories get preserved because of it. That's really important. So shout out to him for putting that together. We had a nice chat about that. And also made me feel pretty good. But yeah, after that, drank some more toilet water, tried to take it pretty easy. Cause again, I got pretty tore up on Friday night. And I had to get up at 5 to hop back in the truck and go to Columbus to fly out. But yeah, I made it on the Flow broadcast. I don't know if you guys saw that. Me and Kyle went down for driver intros up front because who doesn't love pyro? And we were sitting there, and that guy in the dragon costume walks by. And we're kind of laughing
Was he
about
in that like all weekend?
I hadn't seen him before. I don't know. He must have been, because we were sitting up in turn 1, so that was the first time I even really sat or came down to the bottom of the grandstand. So he could have been there the whole time. Who knows? But
You didn't pack your dragon costume for this weekend?
I didn't have room in my backpack, so it laid on the bed the whole weekend unused.
It's sad at home.
Yeah, could have been two of us.
It was watching you on the Flow broadcast hanging out with the
Son
other
of a
dragon
bitch.
guy.
But yeah, that guy walks by, and of course the camera finds him. And Kyle notices it first, and then I notice it, and again, it just turns into us waving our arms around on television. And I found out later, after the race, we went down to Jonathan Davenport's trailer as he's holding court down there, signing autographs and all that. Again, Kyle knows him, so he walked up there and, kind of grabbed by the shoulder and, gave him a good job or whatever. Apparently, JD was just like, hey, man, I saw you on the big screen. That made me laugh my ass off. Or something like that, So, again, that little moment of humor, I think, is what set Jonathan Davenport apart. We gave him the fire
The
in
fuel,
his belly. It wasn't wanting to win the Dream. By not being, well, he won his first Dream by Scott Bloomquist getting disqualified, and he's always talked about how he never really felt like he earned that one and blah blah blah. Which fair.
Yeah.
And surely that wasn't what was motivating him. It was because he saw us up there on that big screen with that fucking Puff the Magic Dragon.
It was very,
That's what it was. So, yeah.
We'll have to maybe share that clip on the Instagram stories or something.
Yeah, we'll throw it out there. But, yeah, made it on TV, so.
Well, it honestly, Rob, it doesn't sound like your trip was too different than our trip to Wilkesboro. I mean, it was definitely a lot of parallels there in what you told us, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Eldora, it's its own thing for sure. And I'm curious to see what the new North Wilkesboro was like. But yeah, definitely a lot of heritage, a lot of recognition of heritage and history, a lot of nostalgia, and a lot of people being really happy to be in a place that's been there for a long time, or in the case of Wilkesboro, I guess, that wasn't there for a long time, and now they have a chance to stand on the grounds again. And I think a lot of people go to Eldora, I mean, obviously the racing is always great, but I think maybe the number one draw is just to stand in a place like that and feel that energy and be around those people who want to be there. So
Yeah, for sure.
certainly it's that way for me, and I'm telling you, I cannot wait to go back next year. It is happening. I'm gonna try and go to the World if I can, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to swing that since the band will be doing stuff then. But yeah, the dream is on my to-do list now for the rest of my life, or as long as Eldora is an operating facility. There's no question about it.
Nice. Well, hopefully next time you make it down there, I'll be able to make it down, because I'm definitely looking to check it out for sure.
Yeah. Well, I drank enough toilet waters for the both of us. And by the way, I think I said this already. They're delicious. What a nice little signature cocktail.
Yeah, what do you know what goes into it? Or...
So it's blue and red Maui, which is like some sort of like fruity schnapps.
Oh.
Orange juice and seltzer water, I think, off the gun. Maybe there's seltzer in there. Maybe it's Sprite. And then they stir it up, and it turns that nice porta potty green, and they drop a little Tootsie on top of it. And that's it. And I didn't get a headache like I thought I did, or thought I would.
Well, you took all those pills.
I did. So they were Advils. It's not a Waylon Jennings tour out there. It was.
This man drank 30 toilet waters and then was afraid to take an Advil.
Well, that's kind of the point I was making, is that I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah, once again, big shout out to Kyle Armstrong for facilitating it, and Cam Bob for letting me in their space for the weekend, and all the great folks I got to meet. And it's cool to kind of dive into that community. I didn't meet a person I didn't like, I'll say that. Everyone was so nice and welcoming and hospitable.
Except maybe that girl that hates Neon Moon.
Nah, she was fine too. I think she just wanted to play others. She wanted to be the DJ. I get it. It's fine.
Well, cool. Well, that sounds like an awesome trip. I'm glad it happened. I wish I was there, but like I said, I'll hopefully be at the next one. Did we get any questions this week?
No question. Just your buddy Dylan. Dylan Johns. Dylan Jans. Dylan Johns.
Johns. It's Johns.
Jans. Dylan Jans. Yes, it is. Yeah. No relation to Gilles Villeneuve.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, Dylan Johns wrote in, and of course, we're talking about some racing superstitions last week, and he offered another one up that we had forgotten about, which I guess is peanuts. Eating peanuts at a racetrack is bad luck. Yeah. Which
that's one thing
an old school one
I've heard.
He also mentioned that his, I think it was his uncle or somebody. I should have just pulled this up. Actually, had it to read on the show since we're talking about it. But apparently, at a short track, someone from his family used to go to, there was actually a green car with the number 11 that had peanuts for the number 11. So, fuck superstitions. Yeah, I bet it did.
Well, that's cool. Well, I guess that's
never won a championship.
Yeah.
The number 11 is also
peanuts,
cursed according to that message.
That's true.
I don't think it's too cursed, because DW won a few titles in that car, so
yeah,
or in the 11 car. So yeah, I think that's some bullshit.
Maybe the curse happened after DW.
Oh, we do have a dart for the week. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, there we go.
We do have one, and it is from the Dirt Late Model world again.
Yes.
Of course, I don't know if we didn't talk about this yet. I don't think, but before Saturday got started, for the feature, they were confiscating all the drivers' like Apple Watches and whatever, any device they had on them, because you're not supposed to be able to signal your driver. There's a big to-do about getting rid of signal sticks.
Can you guys hear me?
Well, yeah, that's nice and loud now.
Yeah, very loud.
Is it? Sorry, my mom called right in the middle of that, so it fucked up everything for a second. So could we maybe start that part over?
Yes.
Can we start the DARF over? Thanks, Mom.
No problem.
God.
Well, we got a DARF for the week. We got one, folks, and it's coming from the Dirt Late Model world this week. Like I didn't say previously, drivers' Apple Watches got confiscated pre-race because there's not supposed to be any communications between the teams and drivers. There was a big to-do about signal sticks, and that got banned at Eldora for the Dream, and I think all forthcoming events, it's just gone. You can't stand on your trailer and wave your arms around anymore with sticks. Some guys are trying to do it with their arms. I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to see somebody up on a hauler in the middle of the infield anyway, or through the fence when you're ripping around that place because it's so fast and dusty. But I don't know. They were taking people's watches away and all that. Of course, there's also, and I don't know if this is just the group of people I was sitting with, but there was rumblings about talking about traction control and that sort of thing. Obviously, we've seen that at the Snowball Derby before. I think Noah Gragson got kicked out or DQ'd because he had his cell phone with him in the car, and that's strictly prohibited because you can operate traction control with that. So
he was probably just trying to slide in some DMs.
He was, yeah, from the car. You know where I'm at, baby? Yeah. 5 flags. But yeah, they took everyone's phones away, and it was kind of or not phones, but their watches and everything before the race, kind of patting them down and all that. Which I'm
trying to imagine a dirt racer wearing an Apple Watch, but okay.
Yeah. Hey, we're all modern people now.
I guess.
And there's a lot of opinions about that, about the whole communications thing in general. Should it be allowed? Shouldn't it be? Why don't they? Etc. And one guy in particular, after Jonathan Davenport won, his name is, I'm just going to say his name, Matt Dever. Matthew Tweeter is his name if you want to add him. He just tweets at Jonathan Davenport. Honestly, I think he's a good driver, but I think it's a bit weird that he only wins at tracks that have decent cell service. I'm not trying to stir shit up, but it honestly makes you wonder what's going on. And then Jonathan Davenport, I don't even have to punish this guy for being a DARF this week because Jonathan Davenport takes care of it for me. He says, damn right it wouldn't be near as exciting if he wasn't able to call all your buddies and tell them that I won.
Much better job of hitting back the trolls than Almirola.
Yeah, Eric Almirola should take some lessons from Jonathan Davenport there. But and when he did, good God, he was a dick stomping.
Yeah, and you even started this episode off talking about how shitty the cell phone service was at Eldora.
Oh yeah, there's no chance that you're
no service.
If you're an Apple customer in particular, go fuck yourself. Like, it just does not work. It's like the one time testing a Samsung phone actually worked in my favor because Kyle and I could text because he doesn't have an Apple phone, so it was nice. But with you guys and everybody else, it was difficult. So, but yeah, Jonathan,
does Kyle have a flip phone?
He doesn't have a flip phone. One more thing about Kyle, listen to his podcast. I've said it 3,000 times on this episode or on this show already. The Forward Bite podcast on the Speed Sport Network. Please check that out if you want to learn more about dirt late model racing. Lord knows I listen to it every week, and that's how I know what little bit I do know is from listening to him. And he has some really great guests on there all the time. So yeah, make sure you do yourself a favor and listen to that.
Well, after you listen to that podcast, you should check out our video of the week. This week, we have an interesting documentary. Now, in trying to find a video of the week this week, I was trying to find some cool Father's Day content, and the only thing I found that I was even slightly interested in was a video of the truck series that Shauna Robinson raced in at Dover, but the video is only like 3 minutes long. So the next video that I found was the NASCAR dad with probably one of the saddest stories of all racers of all time, Bobby Allison. This is
Happy Father's Day, motherfuckers! The guy outlived not one but two of his sons. So yeah, Jesus Christ.
We're terrible people.
I wouldn't say we're terrible.
We're terrible.
It feels terrible.
I feel a little terrible. It's a great video, though. It's probably my favorite one yet.
Yeah, this one's been on YouTube for a long time, and just like that 500 Miles Apart video from last week or the week before, this is also one that's been on my sort of, I don't know what to watch, I'm going to put this on YouTube rotation for many years now, so I'm glad this is on the show, Brien.
Yep, but it's called Bobby Allison. This man's from Alabama, which you figure that out real fast because the opening shot is that title in front of a Confederate flag. So yeah,
this is 1983. So
1983. So let's give him a tiny bit of credit here.
But it's like a synth version of Dixie that like kind of fades off. Like it's kind of sick. I don't know. The New South, baby.
A
little bit of Knight Rider sprinkled on top.
I'm gonna start this review by calling this what my buddy Mike, who's in our fantasy league, host of First 7-Inch Club podcast, he calls movies like these brown films. Basically, if you look at it, it's got kind of a brownish hue to it. I mean, it's shot on film. It's kind of you can tell it's a degrading film itself, and it's not incredibly clear. This is definitely not an HD video by any means. Very dark, very drab looking. The soundtrack is, again, Rob mentioned some synth. It's very brood and also at certain times like dramatic. And almost it's almost like a horror film soundtrack at certain times, just the way the audio is used. It's pretty interesting.
And it's like how half of the little first part of Dixie happens like every 15 minutes or whatever, and it just kind of fades off into like a synth arpeggio. It's great. I fucking love it.
So this entire now the YouTube video itself is 52 minutes, but the actual runtime is only about 45 minutes. Whoever posted this a decade ago didn't know how to edit, apparently, but it's about 45 minutes, and it documents Bobby Allison's quote-unquote entire 1983 season. Now, I say that because it seems like almost every time this film crew went to the track with Bobby, he had issues or just didn't win. Like Bobby won, I think it was 5 races this year, and they were only there for one of his wins. The rest of the time, he had issues with his car. Like, it starts off at Daytona, which he won in 82 with that car with the bumper that fell off, and they brought that car back in 83, but they went through both their primary and their backup car before the 125s even happened. So then they had to bring a third car down, and he ended up finishing 9th with that because it was like a short track car that they had to kind of adapt. For Daytona, he did okay, for a short track car, but compared to the year before, didn't do that well. From there, they go to Riverside. I think really, I mean, there's not, if you're watching this video to really get a lot of insight about Bobby's season, you're not going to get it, because this was definitely filmed and narrated in a way that, I don't know, the guy's almost, he's not speaking to NASCAR fans, if that makes sense. Like, he's kind of over.
I'm not sure who he's speaking
things. Yeah, I don't. It does. Rob's good point. Don't really know who he's speaking to, but it's just, to me, it's an interesting piece of footage because it's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't get to see much of, especially when you go back and watch races. There you go. Rob's got the audio going in the background. I watch a lot of older races, and especially the early 80s stuff. You don't see a lot of off-track footage and pre-race stuff. So, you get to see a lot of young Gary Nelson and Robert Yates.
Yep.
And a lot of that stuff, to me, is the best part of this video.
Yeah.
That was my thought as well, and that's why I love it so much. There isn't a ton of that sort of garage footage out there from that era that I'm aware of anyway. So this is a really, really nice, I would say almost introductory glimpse into that era of NASCAR.
Yeah. I have chronological notes, but to be honest, there's not a ton of like incredibly interesting stuff to point out. Some things I did notice. He switches from a Monte Carlo to a Buick Regal, which I thought, that's one of those wild things that back then just happened quite a bit. It seemed like guys would just switch cars, especially if they were a GM driver, they wanted to switch from Chevy to Oldsmobile or Chevy to Buick. That happened quite a bit. And even though that 83 Monte, like Bobby's 83 Monte, looks gorgeous, but the Regal was faster, so they ran most of the season with the Regal and ended up winning the title. Darrell Waltrip was Bobby's biggest competitor that year, and there's a few really cool shots of the two of them, like in the garage. And I think after one of Bobby's wins, like the one win that Bobby had with the crew there's like a shot that wasn't televised of Darrell coming over and congratulating the crew, which I thought was
when he won the championship.
Mm-hmm. Well, when the was it the championship?
Yeah, it was the last race. Yeah.
The narrator himself was just, a lot of interesting, weird stuff. I'm trying to look up. He describes drafting as the steel rhythm of speed.
What was that shit he said about a fickle lady? She's
yes, I got that.
She's a fickle lady, and
then that'll be one.
She'll dance with you all night, and then at the last minute decide she will not dance anymore. Some shit like that.
Yes, that'll be what goes on the Instagram. For sure. But
quickly followed by. Keep talking. It's fine.
There's one of the Rockingham races. Many of these races get rained out, which I thought was interesting. And there's one shot at Rockingham, which I wonder who these kids are. Maybe I think one of them was Dale Jr., but it could have been
sliding down the banking.
Just children running on the track, sliding down the fucking banking in the rain.
So cool. What a story. I want to find out who they are. They must have been drivers' kids, right? But
yeah.
Yep. There's an amazing clip, probably one of my favorites of the whole video, where one of the Atlanta races, I guess Bobby's lead. He led most of the race, lap DW. They ended up getting a flat in the. He hit a piece of a car or something in the pits and hit the wall and fucked this whole race up. And after the race, there's this dramatic shot of Gary Nelson just walking down pit road by himself.
It's a sad rain.
And the narrator goes, "Only when you lose can you really be alone." And I was like, "That's
Jesus, that's right. He did say that." My lord.
I'm just looking here. I mean, there's some stuff like there's, Ricky. I think Ricky Rudd's first win is documented here at Wilkesboro. I think was where he won, or was it Martin? So one of those two. The only race that they caught him winning was the second Richmond race, I guess. They were there for that. What else, really? Yeah, the sugar and the gas tank thing at Riverside doesn't really get that much attention.
Yeah, that was like a what the fuck moment for me, because I had never heard that before.
Me either. I've heard of that happening, but
I'd heard of that, but it's not really. It's barely touched upon in the video, which you think after all the shit that happened in the battle at DW, and you would think they would have made more out of that.
Yeah, it was just kind of casually mentioned. I was like, no, I want more dirt on that. But
at this point, Vice President George Bush, he's in there not once but twice. I think it was at one of the Atlanta races. He's there and he gives a really goofy wave at the camera, and then during the banquet in New York, I think it was New York, he's there and he's with Bobby on stage, and I guess Bobby went to dinner with Reagan the night before, and he's making jokes about that. And this is just a really neat, weird 45-minute piece of racing history that I didn't even know existed until this week. And it's Rob. Rob obviously knew about it. I didn't and never watched it. But as an Allison fan, it was really cool to see a lot of this stuff. And again, it's a 45-minute watch. It is not the cleanest or most exciting video, but it's just a very neat time capsule. So
yeah,
it really is.
If you're an 80s NASCAR fan, which if you're listening to this show, there's probably a good chance you are, definitely check this out for sure.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that I didn't really see Davey in any of the shots.
No, he's I think maybe once or twice I saw him briefly.
Yeah. But also, I have a good friend, Adam, who I've met through going to races. And Adam's dad remarried when Adam was very young to Bonnie Allison, which is Bobby Allison's daughter. Oh. And his name was Pat Broyles, and he was on Bobby's pit crew too. And he's in the pit crew during this 83 championship. So it was cool. They mentioned his name one time when he was replacing a windshield, and just to see footage of Adam's dad that I'd never seen before, because I've heard a lot of cool stories through Adam about his dad. So
that's really cool.
That was cool to see some of that footage.
Hell yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, that was our video of the week. Next week, since there's going to be no NASCAR to talk about, it's going to be the next installment of my History of Monster Truck Racing series. Probably, I haven't picked the video yet, but I think at this point in the timeline, we're probably going to be at 1986, 87. you know, there's a handful of races I'm looking at, but I haven't picked the exact one yet. So that should be next week. I will hopefully also have a report, most likely going to Lorain County Speedway on Friday night, which is a local asphalt ring up the street. It is Ohio Sprint Speed Week, so there's been racing at pretty much every like 410 sprint racing at pretty much every night of the week. Yeah.
No, you saw the other night in Wayne County.
No, what happened there?
Oh, just abysmal track conditions. It was like a motocross jump coming out of two, but
well, yeah, I mean,
a bunch of guys loaded up. It is what it is.
After 3 weeks of a drought here in Ohio, we're finally getting some rain this week, so I don't know what things will be like, but I know Friday it should be nice and dry. So 410 sprints and super modifieds, so hopefully I'll be checking that out. So I'll have a report from there. So we got some stuff going on for the next show. It just won't be much NASCAR.
Yeah, no NASCAR at all. But there, of course, this is a late model podcast. We'll probably talk about the Lucas Oil race out at Smoky Mountain. That's coming up. That's going to be a big show.
Cool. Well, thank you again, folks, for joining us on another trip to Applebee's. And I guess we'll be back next week with more racing nonsense to yammer about for a while.
Yep. You want to give your plugs?
Yeah. As always, you can find us at Meet Me at Applebee's on Instagram and Meet Me at Dubbies on Twitter. I am Speedway Screens on all the things and speedwaytsj.etsy.com. Also, the Medina Antique Mall in Medina, Ohio.
That's right, Medina. I said it Medina on the show even after you said it Medina, so my apologies.
Tomato.
Ohioans. True Love, you on the internet?
Yeah, I'm on the internet.
That's the best one yet.
Just Google it. You'll find me.
I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm on there, though. Robboats _unofficial. I don't really post the fucking thing on there, but maybe I'll post some Eldora photos because I got some good ones. So
Yeah, do that.
Cool.
All right, folks. Well,
you guys want me to play Space Dixie one more time?
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
See us out.
play us out.
Oh, no, here it comes. It's long.